The same family that had poured everything into me looked at me one last time, and then they walked away. My uncle was the one who finally said it out loud. "We have given you everything, and you have given us nothing back. We are done." My father didn't defend me. My mother couldn't even look at me. And just like that, I was on my own. What happened next broke me completely. Before, it built me into something none of them ever saw coming. Stay with me, because this story starts at the bottom, the very bottom, and every single step matters. Before I take you back to the beginning, if this story hits close to home, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely connect with it. Drop your location and your local time in the comments. I love knowing where you're listening from. My name is Angela. I grew up in a tight, proud, working-class family in Memphis, Tennessee. The kind of family where everybody knew everybody's business and nobody let you forget where you came from. My father, Thomas, drove a city bus for 28 years. Same route, same uniform, same lunchbox. He never complained about it once. Not because it was easy, but because it was for us. Everything he did was for us. My mother, Linda, worked double shifts at a hospital laundry facility for 15 years. She came home exhausted every night, feet swollen, hands rough, and still made dinner, still checked my homework, still braided my hair on Sunday mornings before church, still whispered the same thing into my ear every single night before I went to sleep. "You are going somewhere, Angela, somewhere none of us have been, and you are going to make this family proud." I believed her. With everything I had, I believed her. My uncle Gerald, my father's older brother, was the one with means in the family. He owned a small chain of laundromats, a car dealership he had built from the ground up, and a real estate portfolio that nobody talked about openly, but everybody knew about. Gerald wore good suits, drove a black Mercedes, and had opinions about everything, delivered with the particular confidence of a man who had never been wrong in his own mind. He paid for my college, all 4 years, sat me down the summer before I left and said, "Angela, I am not giving you money. I am making an investment. You understand the difference?" "Yes, sir." "Good, because I do not make bad investments." I went to the University of Tennessee, business administration. I worked hard, not to impress Gerald, not to justify the investment, because I felt the weight of every shift my mother had worked, every route my father had driven, every dollar that had been quietly redirected from their comfort to my future. I felt all of it, and I wanted to be worth it. I graduated in 4 years, 3.6 GPA. Walked across that stage and found their faces immediately. My mother standing, both hands pressed to her mouth. My father nodding with his jaw tight, the way men do when they are trying not to cry in public. Uncle Gerald with his arms folded and a smile he was trying to keep small but could not. That was the best day of my life. For about 8 months. The job market did not care about my story. It did not care about my GPA, or my degree, or my mother's swollen feet. I applied to 62 positions in the first year after graduation, got 14 interviews, 4 second rounds, 0 offers. I took a job at a call center, told myself it was temporary. It was temporary for almost 3 years. I tried to start a small business in year 2, a financial consulting service for small business owners in underserved communities. I believed in it completely. I had a business plan, I had passion. I did not have clients. And without clients, passion is just a feeling. I burned through my savings in 5 months, shut it down, went back to the call center. My Uncle Gerald called quarterly. The calls got shorter each time. His questions got sharper. "Angela, what are you doing?" "I am working on something, Uncle Gerald." "You have been working on something for 3 years." "I know, but your father drove a bus for 28 years, so you would not have to work at a call center." I held the phone very still. "I hear you," I said. "Do you?" "Yes, sir." But here is what I need you to understand. I was not sitting still. I was not lazy. I was not ungrateful. I was working. Every single day I was working, sending applications, taking courses, reading everything I could find, trying to find the door that would open. But I was knocking on the wrong doors with the wrong keys, and I did not know it yet. And in a family that measured love through visible results, invisible effort is the same as no effort at all. My parents' roof collapsed, not metaphorically, literally. A section of the roof over the back bedroom gave way after a heavy storm. The damage assessment came back at $38,000. My parents did not have it. Their insurance covered 11. That left $27,000 that needed to appear from somewhere. My father called Gerald. Gerald came to the house, walked through every room, looked at the damage, and then called a family meeting in my parents' living room with the plastic tarp still over the back bedroom ceiling. He sat in the armchair my father always sat in, which felt deliberate, and he laid it out. I will cover the repair, all of it. But Angela, he looked at me, you have had every advantage this family could give you. 4 years of college, paid in full, and 4 years later, you're working at a call center. I cannot keep pouring into something that is not growing. If I cover this roof, you are on your own from this point forward. No more family financial support, no more safety net. You figuring out yourself. I looked at my father. He was looking at the floor, the same floor he had mopped every Saturday morning for 20 years. I looked at my mother. She was looking at her hands, the same hands that had braided my hair, that had slipped notes into my backpack. Neither of them spoke, not a single word. Gerald fixed my eyes. Do we have an understanding? I looked at him, and I said, yes, sir, we have an understanding. I drove home that night, sat in my car in the parking lot of my apartment complex for a very long time. I thought about my mother's voice in my ear every night. You are going somewhere, Angela, somewhere none of us have been. I thought about my father's face on graduation day, the jaw tight, the eyes wet, the pride he could not fully contain, and I thought about that living room and the silence. I went inside, made myself tea, and cried. Just that once, hard and fully and completely. And then I stopped, washed my face, and made a decision. Not to prove them wrong, not yet, just I am going to find the right door, and I am going to walk through it, alone if I have to. The 18 months that followed were the hardest of my life. I lost my apartment 3 months after the family meeting, moved into a room in a shared house, $220 a month, a twin bed, a window that wouldn't close all the way, a kitchen shared with 5 other people. I lost the call center job 8 months later, department eliminated. I found work at a grocery store, cashier, minimum wage, standing on my feet for 8 hours, scanning items, saying, have a good day, have a good day, have a good day, until the words lost all meaning. I called my mother twice during that period. The first time she picked up, her voice was careful, measured. Angela, are you eating? I'm fine, Mom. Your uncle says. I don't need to know what Uncle Gerald says. A long pause. Okay, baby. I love you. I love you too. The second time, she did not pick up. I stood in the break room of that grocery store, staring at her name on my screen, listening to it ring and go to voicemail. I did not leave a message. I did not call again. There was a Thursday evening, 14 months into all of it, when I finished a closing shift and walked to the gas station next door and bought a bag of chips and a bottle of water because it was all I could afford that night. I ate standing outside, in the dark, in my grocery store uniform, and I thought about my mother's hands, braiding my hair, slipping notes into my backpack. You are going somewhere, Angela. I thought, I hope you're right, Mom, because right now I cannot see it. But I did not stop. That's the one thing I need you to know about that period. I never stopped. It happened on a Tuesday morning. I was on register 4. A woman came through my line. Late 50s, natural hair, reading glasses on a chain, a basket with very specific items,
The kind of basket that tells you someone knows exactly what they came for. She was on her phone when she reached me. A business call, I could tell from the language. Numbers, timelines, deliverables. She was mid-sentence when her phone slipped, hit the edge of the belt, and skidded under the register. I came around without thinking, got down on my knees, retrieved it from under the equipment, handed it back. She had not missed a beat on the call, but she looked at me, really looked, the way people rarely look at cashiers. She finished her call, started placing her items on the belt, then she said, "Thank you for that." Of course. You did not have to come around. It seemed like an important call. She looked at me again. "What is your name?" "Angela." "Angela, what are you doing here?" I scanned her yogurt. "Working." "I can see that. That is not what I asked." I looked up. Her eyes were direct, not unkind, just direct. "I'm trying to figure out what comes next," I said honestly. She reached into her bag, pulled out a card, set it on the belt next to her items. "Call me on Friday," she said, "before noon." She paid, picked up her bags, and left. I picked up the card. Patricia Owens, founder and CEO, Owens Financial Strategies. I held that card for the rest of my shift, and on Friday morning at 9:47 a.m., I called. She picked up on the second ring. "I was wondering if you would actually call," she said. "I almost did not," I admitted. "Why?" "Because I was not sure what I had to offer." A pause. "Come in Monday," she said, 8:30. "For what?" "To show me." I showed up at 8:15. Patricia's office was on the fourth floor of a building downtown. Small firm, 8 employees, financial planning and wealth management for mid-level business owners. She met me herself at the reception desk, walked me to a small conference room, sat across from me, and put a single sheet of paper on the table. A real client scenario. A small business owner, inconsistent cash flow, mixing personal and business finances, no retirement planning. "You have 30 minutes," she said. "Tell me what you see." She left the room. I picked up the pen on the table, and I worked. Not the way I had been taught in college, the way I had been thinking for 4 years, quietly, in the margins of every failed attempt, in the notes I kept in a journal nobody had ever read. I saw the problem immediately, not just the financial problem, the behavioral pattern underneath it, the reason the numbers were the way they were. I wrote for 28 minutes. When Patricia came back, I slid the paper across. She read it standing up, did not sit down, read it twice. Then she looked at me. "Where did this come from?" 4 years of watching small businesses struggle," I said, "and trying to understand why." "You see the human pattern," she said, "not just the numbers." "The numbers are always about something else," I said. She sat down. "Angela, I am going to offer you a position, junior financial analyst. It's not glamorous, the pay is modest, but I am going to teach you everything I know, and in return, I need you to show up, completely, every single day." I looked at this woman who had found me on Register 4 because I got down on my knees to pick up a phone that was not my responsibility. "I will show up," I said, "every single day." "Good," she said. "Monday, 8:30. Do not be late." Working with Patricia was the real education. Everything college had introduced, she made real. How to read a business's financial health the way a doctor reads a chart. How to find the bleeding before the patient knew they were sick. How to build a plan that people would actually follow. Because the best financial plan in the world means nothing if the person cannot live inside it. I learned that from Patricia. In my first year, I handled 4 client accounts under her supervision. In my second year, 11 on my own. In my third year, Patricia called me into her office. "I want to make you a partner," she said. I sat very still. "You've earned it. The clients ask for you specifically. The work speaks for itself. And frankly, I'm not getting any older, and I want this firm to outlast me."
I became a junior partner at 32, and within 18 months, I had built my own client base large enough to go independent. Patricia sat across from me when I told her. She did not look surprised. You sure? Yes. You know I won't be your safety net. I know. You never were. That's why it worked. She smiled, the kind of smile that means, I taught you well. I started Angela Owens Financial. Yes, I kept her name in mine, because some debts are not financial. Year 1, 6 clients. Year 2, 19. Year 3, I crossed a number I had written in my journal the night my mother did not pick up the phone, sitting on a twin bed in a room with a window that wouldn't close. That number was $1 million in annual revenue. I crossed it at 34, and then I bought a house, my house. 4 bedrooms, a neighborhood that would have made my 28-year-old self standing outside a gas station in her grocery store uniform completely unable to breathe. I sat in the empty living room the first night, no furniture yet, just me and the quiet, and my mother's voice. You're going somewhere, Angela, somewhere none of us have been. I picked up my phone, and I called her. She picked up on the first ring, like she had been waiting. Angela? Hey, Mom. A pause. Baby. Just that one word that said everything.
Uncle Gerald's car dealership had been struggling for 2 years. I did not know this, because nobody was telling me anything. What I found out, through my cousin Denise, who had never stopped calling, was that Gerald's business partner had been embezzling, quietly, systematically, skimming from the financing side of the dealership for almost 3 years. By the time an audit caught it, the damage was catastrophic. Legal costs consumed the remaining capital. The laundromats were sold off one by one to cover debts. The real estate portfolio, which had been leveraged to fund the dealership expansion, was picked apart by creditors. The Mercedes was gone. The good suits remained, but they fit differently on a man whose foundation had collapsed. My parents' house, which Gerald had quietly co-signed a refinancing on years earlier, was now attached to his financial disaster. The bank issued a foreclosure notice, 60 days. My father called me on a Wednesday evening. His voice was the smallest I had ever heard it. Angela, I need to talk to you about the house. He told me everything. Gerald, the embezzlement, the foreclosure, the 60 days. I listened to every word, without interrupting, without reacting. When he finished, I said, Dad, I hear you. Give me 3 days. I will call you back. I hung up and I sat with it, not with anger, with memory. The grocery store uniform, the gas station chips, the phone that rang and went to voicemail, the living room, the plastic tarp on the ceiling, my mother's eyes on her hands. I sat with all of it for 3 full days, and then I called my father back. Dad, I have thought about it. Okay. I am not going to let you lose the house. I heard something release in him, a breath he had been holding. Angela? But I need something first. He went quiet. I need Uncle Gerald to sit across from me in that living room and say out loud what he decided at that family meeting, what it cost me, and what he understands now that he did not understand then. A long silence. Not for punishment, I said, not for an apology that sounds pretty, but because the truth needs to exist out loud in the same room where it was decided before I can move forward with any of you. My father was quiet for a very long time. That is fair, he said finally. Can you arrange it? Yes, he said, I can arrange it. The meeting happened the following Saturday, my parents' living room. Same room, same chairs, different everything else. Gerald sat across from me, without the Mercedes outside, without the watch, without the weight of being the one with the answers. Just a man in his 60s, sitting with what his decisions had built and what they had cost. He spoke for almost 15 minutes about the meeting, about the calculation he had made, about what he had not accounted for, about the years in between, about seeing my name in an article about emerging financial advisors in Memphis and sitting in his car afterward for 20 minutes before he could go inside. His voice broke once. He did not look away. I will give him that. He did not look away once. When he finished, I sat quietly for a moment. Then I said, "Uncle Gerald, I do not need the apology to be perfect. I just needed it to be true." He looked at me. "It is true," he said. "Every word." "Then that is enough," I said. "That is where we start." I bought my parents' house, not as a statement, as a decision, the right one. I had my attorney structure it cleanly, a fair market lease, legal, documented, professional. My parents sign every year. My father sat at the kitchen table, the same table, and looked at the lease for a long time before he signed. Then he looked up at me. "You did not have to do this." "I know." "Then why?" I looked at this man, who had driven the same bus route for 28 years, who had stood at a graduation with wet eyes and a tight jaw, who had sat in a living room and looked at the floor when he should have spoken. "Because you never stopped believing in me," I said. "Even in the silence, I know you never stopped." He signed. My mother held my hand across the table for a long time afterward. She did not need to say. Some things are said completely through a hand that will not let go. Uncle Gerald is rebuilding. One laundromat, starting over at 64. He called me last month, asked for advice on a financing structure. I spent 40 minutes on the phone with him, because moving forward is not the same as forgetting, and strength is not about withholding help from people who once withheld it from you. It's about choosing from a place of wholeness rather than hurt. Patricia Owens came to my office last quarter, sat in the chair across from my desk, and looked around at everything: the team, the clients on the board, the work on the walls. Then she said, "You know what I saw in that grocery line? A woman who got down on her knees for someone else's dropped phone?" "No," she shook her head. "I saw a woman who did the right thing instinctively when there was nothing in it for her. That's not common. That's not taught. That's character." I think about that a lot, about Register 4, about how everything, the firm, my parents' lease, the phone call with my father, started with a decision to help when helping cost me something and nobody would have known if I hadn't. That's not luck. That's not talent. That's a choice, available to every woman sitting at the bottom right now, wondering if the effort is worth it. It is. You are not behind. You are being prepared. Keep going. If you stayed with me all the way to the end, thank you. If this story felt like yours, if you've ever worked hard and had nothing to show for it yet, if you've ever been left by people who should have stayed, drop a comment below. Tell me where you are in your journey right now. Just one word if that's all you have. Beginning, middle, rising, there. I read every single one. And if there's a woman in your life still on Register 4, still waiting for someone to hand her a card, share this video with her today. Let her know the phone on the floor matters, even when nobody's watching, especially when nobody's watching. Subscribe so you don't miss next one.